One of the things, and the very first thing that comes to mind for me when it comes to intuition is I guess, for lack of a better term, the negative propaganda surrounding it. Many of us are a little bit afraid to use our intuition. I find that it's been mocked and made fun of for so long. It has so many negative connotations surrounding charlatan psychics and people who are trying to con you. But for me, I think the most important part of our intuition is the fact that it is a part of our human, not only our human being, but our human right. It's a tool that is a part of our bodies, a part of our mind, a part of our spirit that is something that we have forgotten how to use, and something that I feel is very important for us to begin utilizing again. So while you're watching this, what I'd like you to do, if you could, is try to forget about these silly notions that have been put into your mind or what you have been fed through media. Don't forget that most of this world that we live in, the 3D, 4D world material plane of consciousness, is fairly, how should we say, left brain oriented, very linear, logical. It does not like things that it does not understand, that it cannot touch, taste, feel, smell, and whatnot. And because of that, we've lost this wonderful tool that everyone has accessible to them. With that being said, one of the many questions that many people ask is, um, do I have the ability to be intuitive? Do I have the ability to be psychic? And my only answer is, of course, it is a part of everyone's dynamic and makeup as a living, breathing, incarnated spirit in a human body here on this planet. And so, for those of you that feel that you don't have intuition or you don't have psychic ability and you cannot develop it, forget that. Forget that. If anything, it's just a matter of reconnecting with your higher self, your intuition, and just practicing. It's a matter of practice as well. Just like any tool or any art or any subject matter for that matter, if it's practiced and developed, it does begin to grow. Finding that place, that quiet, still place, gives us that opportunity to have the quietness. When you are in that place between the thought, you have the ability to listen to that still small voice, as many people call it. It is that little quiet voice in the background that is always there, but seems to be ignored or seems to be pushed aside as silly or something that is not real. But it is a part of you, and in my definition, that is really your divinity speaking to you. That is your connection. If you are a religious person and you want to call it God, that's your connection to God. That is God speaking to you through your spirit. Now, there's a lot of confusion, and many people want to know what is the difference between being afraid or being intuitive. Are we reacting to fear or are we being intuitive? And I think that's a very fair question because a lot of times we are put into situations, or a situation may arise where you're feeling very uncomfortable. And you have to ask yourself, is it fear? Are you reacting to an external stimulus that is maybe reminding you of negative experiences and you don't want to go there again? Or is it just a little bit of anxiety because it's different? So there's a difference, for me, there is a difference between real fear and maybe anxiety because something is a little awkward or different, and that includes listening to your intuition. Now, the difference between fear and intuition is that if you're presented with a situation, I don't know, something that makes you feel very uncomfortable, or maybe a new relationship or a new job or something like that. Many of us have a very bad habit of turning away very good opportunities because we are afraid of the different, something new. And so let's say you're being presented with a situation that is just different to you. Now, the way to do and to tell the difference between fear and intuition is how it makes you feel. One of the first things that I try to convey to people when I'm teaching these types of classes, when I'm trying to empower people on how to utilize their intuition, is to listen to their body. I think that's a very important step. Learn to listen to your body does know, your emotion does know what is working for you and what is in your best interest. Our central nervous system is very much a part of this as well. So beginning to listen to your body is the first step. And as you learn to understand how your body speaks to you, you're going to ask yourself when you get into a new situation that may not be that may cause fear, or is it intuition? You have to ask yourself, is it intuition? The way to tell the difference is it making you contract and constrict? Are your muscles getting tense? Are your shoulders closing up? Are you trying to put yourself in a cocoon, for lack of a better term? That's fear. That's fear. So you have to know right then and there that this is something that is it's a psychological reaction. It's not necessarily, or it might be a physiological reaction to something to protect yourself. That's what fear was intended for. Fear is intended to protect the body from harm. We all know about the fight or flight situation. That was put into us so we know to run from that saber-toothed tiger that's running after us. But we don't have much of that anymore. Unfortunately, much of the fear that we feel and experience these days is created by us. The way to tell if it's positive and or intuition is, does it make you feel expansive? Do you feel your shoulders becoming broader? Do you feel your heart opening up? Even though there's anxiety, is it something you're excited about? Is it something that you really want to do even though you're afraid of? Is it, again, expansive? Is it expanding your aura? Is it making you feel good? Are you feeling the drive to want to do something about it even though you're feeling a little anxious? That is a very excellent way of telling the difference between fear and intuition. Um, or if you should act on something that your body is telling you. So remember, if it's something closing you up, yes, that's going to be psychological, and that doesn't necessarily mean you don't want to do it. It just means you're not ready to do it. And we'll talk about moving past the fear in one of these consciousness classes in the future. But sticking to today's subject of intuition and developing your psychic ability, the first step is in understanding and listening to your body. Your body, and I speak of this all the time, there are subtleties that are happening all the time. One of my favorite examples that I use is your central nervous system and listening to your central nervous system. When you're cringing, if it's making your teeth grind or your muscles tense up, that's your body telling you, I don't want that. I don't need this. This is not something, or I don't need this right now. Maybe you're just not ready for it. But the reality of it is that we need to start listening and developing a relationship with our body if we are going to develop a relationship with the intuition, and in turn develop a relationship with our higher selves and our divine self.